Hey, want to know the secret to really putting those diatonic scale shapes to use? Well, it's going to be combining them to move diagonally across the fretboard. Let me show you what I mean. So if you've seen my previous videos, or you know how to play the diatonic scale all across the neck, then you know a collection of scale shapes, which I like to name according to the modes, that map out every note in a particular key all across the fretboard. In my last video, I went through all of these scale shapes, but only combined them two at a time to map out all these notes. If we really want to get moving across the fretboard, we'll have to combine at least 3 of them at a time, giving us some diagonal shapes. So for my first example, I'm going to start with the major scale, move up through the Dorian shape and into the Phrygian shape. To do that, I'm going to switch up from the major to the Dorian on the D string and from the Dorian to the Phrygian on the B string. And in both places, I can shift up on my first finger. So I'll start my major scale with my second finger on the 3rd fret to give myself some room to move up. Bringing my first finger up here by 2 frets and into the Dorian. My slight shift within Dorian, and then I've got to bring my first finger up again by 2 frets to get into the Phrygian. And same thing on the way back down. Down by 2 frets, back into the Dorian, and right into my slight shift within Dorian. Shifting down again by 2 frets, and back into the major. And there's another one I can do starting in the Phrygian, going through the Mixolydian and ending up in the minor shape. For this, I switch up on the A string and the G string. So I'll start my Phrygian shape with my first finger down on the 3rd fret again. Bringing my first finger up by 2 frets right here into the Mixolydian. And bringing my first finger up again by 2 frets into the minor. My slight shift within minor. And I can do the same thing on the way back down. My slight shift within minor. Then bringing my first finger down by 2 frets into the Mixolydian. And down by 2 frets again, back into the Phrygian. So you can see how combining more than just 2 of these scale shapes can really get you moving across the fretboard. The other thing to notice is how common the 1-2-4 and 1-3-4 finger combination is throughout all of these scales. Also, there are sometimes different places you can switch between some of these scales. So going between the Phrygian and Mixolydian, for example, you could switch up on the A string or on the D string. This means from the same combination of 3 scales, you can have different diagonal shapes. And at first you want to focus on these first finger shifts that get you right in position to play the next scale, at least until you really get to know the layout and you can switch in different places where you might have to adjust here and there. And of course these are just 2 examples. You can really take any 3 scale shapes that are next to each other and combine them using a diagonal shape, going from the Dorian through the Phrygian into the Mixolydian, for example, or starting in the minor, going through the major and ending up in the Dorian. And you'll want to give these a try to really get to know the diatonic scale across the fretboard and have access to all those notes. So give these diagonal shapes a try, and next time around we'll look at even more diagonal shapes that use symmetrical finger combinations and span up to 3 octaves. But until then, happy practicing.